We're going to dive into the very first step of pretty much any sale in SAP S4Hana, the pre-sales document. Now, it sounds simple, right? But what we're going to see is that how you handle this initial chat with a customer inside the system can actually end up shaping your entire sales strategy. So let's get into it. So here's the plan. We're going to follow the life of a customer question, from that very first request all the way to creating a digital paper trail with things like inquiries and quotes. We'll look at how to actually process it in the system, what to do when the answer is no, and this is the really cool part, how even a lost sale can turn into some seriously powerful business intelligence.
Okay, so every single sale has to start somewhere. Let's kick things off with that very first customer interaction and how we begin to wrangle it inside of SAP.
So just picture this for a second. A customer calls you up. They're interested, they want a price, maybe a delivery date. What's your first move inside the system? That one simple action is what kicks this whole process off.
This is what we call the pre-sales phase. And really, it's all about these early, non-binding requests for info. You know, the customer is just kicking the tires, exploring their options, and you're just giving them the details they need to make a call. This informal back and forth is exactly where our official process begins. So, how do we turn that casual conversation into something official? Well, this is where we create our digital paper trail, and we do it using two key documents, the inquiry and the quotation.
First up, you've got the inquiry. Honestly, just think of this as the system's official record of the customer's question. They want a price for 100 widgets? Boom, you create an inquiry to capture that exact request. It's like your formal digital note of what the customer is asking about.
And the answer to that inquiry? Well, that's the quotation. This is your formal offer back to the customer. You lay out the price, the delivery dates, all the terms, everything that directly addresses what they asked for in the first place. It's your professional, documented response. The difference here is super simple, but it's really crucial. The inquiry is the customer's voice. It's their non-binding question. The quotation is your voice. It's your formal offer. Getting this flow right from the start just keeps the whole sales conversation clear and, most importantly, traceable.
And here is a really important point to remember. The system is flexible. You don't have to use inquiries and quotations for every single sale. They are fantastic tools for tracking and managing the whole process, but they are not some rigid requirement. If it makes more sense for your business, you can totally jump straight to a sales order. Okay, so we know the what and the why. Now let's get to the how. Let's take a look at how easy it is to actually create these documents in the system.
Creating an inquiry is honestly pretty straightforward. You just open up the Right Fury app, you plug in the essentials, who the customer is, what material they want, how much, and by when. The second you hit save, that customer request is officially logged, and it's now part of your data stream.
Now here comes the cool part, kind of like a magic trick. Instead of typing everything all over again for the quotation, you can just create it with reference to the inquiry you just made. And this is where the system just shines. It pulls all the customer, material, and quantity data over automatically. This saves a ton of time, and even better, it helps prevent those annoying data entry errors.
So you've got options. The most efficient way, for sure, is creating with a reference to an inquiry. But hey, if you need to, you can also create a quotation completely from scratch, without any document before it. The system can handle both ways of working.
But let's be real for a second. Not every single quote turns into an order. So what do you do when the customer says no? Well, it's actually really important to document that outcome correctly in the system. See, when a customer decides not to move forward, you can't just leave that quote hanging open in the system forever. If you want clean data and accurate sales reports, that document needs to be officially closed out. And the process for doing this is dead simple. You just go into the quotation and you assign a reason for rejection to the items they said no to. Once you save it, the document is complete and it's off your list of open sales items. But this little action does so much more than just clean things up.
Now, this might just seem like boring housekeeping, but trust me, it's way more than that. This brings us to our last, and I think most important section, turning that data into real strategy, and why tracking these rejections actually matters a lot.
And here it is, the big reveal. The key takeaway is that every single time you log a reason for rejection, you're doing so much more than just closing a document. You are capturing a critical piece of business intelligence. This is data that can and absolutely should influence your company's sales strategy down the road.
Just think about the kind of data you're collecting. Are you noticing a trend where you consistently lose deals because your price is too high? Or maybe your delivery dates just aren't competitive enough?
Are you losing out to one specific competitor over and over and over again? This is the gold you can mine from this data.
You see, each one of those rejection reasons is a single data point. And over time, all those little points start to connect and form a really clear picture. You start to see patterns in your wins and your losses, giving you a real data-driven look at how you're performing and where you stand in the market.
So that little reason for rejection field, it's not just some boring admin task. It's one of the most honest, strategic tools you have. It holds the unfiltered story of why you lose deals. And really, the only question left is, are you listening to what that data is trying to tell you? Thanks for tuning in.
If you're in sales, you know the feeling.